We were about to go on the air, and we got a call from, well, they got on the phone, they said, "Hi, this is the White House." And I thought they said, they said, "This is White House Communications." And we were just about to go on the air. The producers were already in our studio, and I was running in as usual. But we got this call. I thought, who would be calling right before the show unless it's an emergency? So I've got to pick it up. The music is always already swelling for the beginning of Democracy Now! And I pick it up, I say hello, and they say White House Communications. I thought, White Horse? Why would White Horse? You know, White Horse is this famous tavern in New York. It's where Dylan Thomas drank himself to death. It's in the Village. I thought, why would a bar be calling us at 9 o'clock in the morning? And so I said, what do you want? And they said, well, the president wants to come on. I said, the president of what? A president of a tavern? They said, the president of the United States. This is White House Communications. It was Bill Clinton, and he wanted to come on the show. And I said, the president, Bill Clinton, wants to come on Democracy Now! Yes, today. He will call you in a few minutes. They said he was calling radio stations to get out the vote. It was when Hillary Clinton was running for Senate and Al Gore was running for president. So I didn't know if this was, if this was a crank call or whatever, and I said, whatever. We went on the air. I said to the producers, as the music is coming down, the president might be calling, so make sure you pick up the phone if he does. And we went on with our show. I went on with the show for the hour. He didn't call. And so who knew what it was? We were going out to coffee because we knew it would be a long day. This is Election Day. Who knew that long day would stretch into 5 weeks? But we'd get coffee, and then we'd start the Election Day coverage. And we hear a yelp coming from the control room. The next show is on. It's a Latino music show. And they say, get in here, the president is on the phone. And as I run in, all of the music faders are up. The microphones are down, and you hear President Clinton saying, hello, hello, is anyone there, above the salsa. And so I hurled myself over the board, and I brought down all the music faders, bring up his microphone. Yes, Mr. President. I understand you want to talk about getting out the vote. And I asked him at the beginning about that. And I said, many people don't vote because they feel that both parties are captured by the corporations. What do you have to say about that? And he responded. And then he was still on, so I asked him, he was considering clemency for Leonard Peltier, who remains in jail. Leonard Peltier is the famous Native American activist who was convicted of killing 2 FBI agents on the Pine Ridge Reservation in 1975, a crime he continues to this day to maintain he did not commit. And President Clinton had never spoken publicly about it, so he addressed this issue. And then I was there with the Latino music programmer, and we went back and forth asking President Obama questions, asking about the napalming of Vieques, the Puerto Rican island. The U.S. Navy was doing that at the time, asking when they would stop. Asked him about racial profiling. Asked him, this was a time when Ralph Nader was running, and they saw Ralph Nader as a threat. And I asked him, might he not, President Clinton, be responsible for Ralph Nader's success because he had brought the Democratic Party to the right? I think it was at that point that President Clinton said, I find you hostile, combative, and at times disrespectful. And I said, so then I just have a few more questions. And I asked him about racial profiling because Al Gore had said if he became president, it would be the first executive order to do away with racial profiling. And so I said, if that is his intention, I mean, you both have been in power for 8 years, I said, why haven't you done it until now? But anyway, after about half an hour, he got off the phone. And it got a lot of attention, this conversation with the president. And the next day, I get a call from Newsday, local newspaper in New York, and talking to the reporter, and I get another call, and it's from the White House. And so I just put the phone call with the reporter down at the time we used tape recorders, but I mean just as a physical place to put the phone down, I wasn't recording anything. And I said, just 1 minute please, White House is on the phone. So he happened to hear this, at least my end of the conversation, because I had just put that phone down. This is a time when we're using phones and not cell phones as much. And so I said hello, and they said that something to do with that would be banned from the White House. And I said, what are you talking about? They said, I broke all the basic rules, the agreement we had. I said, I had no agreement with you. I mean, I was going on the air in 1 second. You said the president might call. That was the extent of our conversation. And they said, we said he wanted to talk about getting out the vote. And they said something like questions 1, 4, and 7 related to that, but not the other ones. I said, but I didn't agree that those are the only questions I would ask. I understood that that's what he wanted to talk about. But, you know, we are independent. We are journalists. And I said, how many other radio stations did he call? And he said, oh, many. He spoke to like 40 journalists. And I said, and all of them just agreed to ask the questions that you wanted asked? And they said, that's right. And I said, well, that's a very sad state, a comment on the sad state of journalism today. And they said, and we said he had a few minutes, and you kept him on the phone for half an hour. I said, he's the leader of the free world. He could hang up if he wants to. You know, I'm doing my job asking him as many questions as I could until he decided to get off the phone, which he ultimately did. Anyway, it was a very interesting conversation that we had, and it got a lot of attention with headlines that, you know, that said we went back and forth. But that issue of an agreement that you have, that journalists have with politicians, you know, I've covered the White House, been at the, you know, been in the White House press corps covering the president, and I'm afraid that all too often journalists engage in, well, the access of evil. That is, trading truth for access. You ask the softball questions so that maybe you'll get another chance to ask the president or a question, or the vice president, and then you can come back to your newspaper or to your website or to whatever news organization. You have the actual, you were the one to ask the question. You know, politicians need journalists more than journalists need politicians, and we should not be making those deals.